guys, welcome back. In this video I'm going to be telling you the first principle, and that is contrast. Believe me, there is no arrangement to the way we explain principles, but I just like to talk about contrast first. Maybe because I'm really big on the fact that graphic design is visual. Graphic design must be able to visually appeal to the audience that you're trying to target. So contrast is one of the very important principles when it comes to designing. It's just that state of being obviously or strikingly different from a particular thing that um are similar. Okay, so when you will see things that are supposed to be similar and something is just strikingly different from it, you understand that that is contrast. Contrast could come in different ways, but quickly let me just take you to Google, my browser, and then type contrast and let's see what it gives us. Okay, so I have it here. What can you see? Amazing images. Can you see this first apple, set of apples in blues, and then there is a lemon there? Like the first time you look at this graphic, it's a graphic. The first time you look at that graphic, what do you see? The lemon. Yeah, because that is one of the things contrast does. It gives attention to a particular thing. It makes it quite visually different, and people just kind of notice it first. Look at this second design, this one with this rainbow. The first thing you see out of the entire black design is that there's a rainbow color, maybe umbrella or something right there. That is contrast. And if you look at all of this, can you see this black and white glass cups? Can you see that? Can you see this? Amazing. And these are contrast. I'm trying to show you this in the form of color, not because color is the only contrast we have, but once you look at this, you can see that these are two apples here with the same shade, but yeah, they kind of carry different colors, and it makes you want to give attention to it, and you're looking like, okay, there's something here. And don't forget, especially in a time like this where the attention span of people on social media has greatly increased, if you're making a graphic design that is to be used on social media, you need something that has good contrast or high contrast so that people can stop in their tracks and look at it. If I'm scrolling through my Facebook or my Instagram and I see an image like this green and red apple, there's a tendency I'm going to wait. I want to look at it again because the contrast caught my attention, caught my eye, and is visually appealing. And if you notice this apple, one apple is red and then the second background is red. So kind of they are still bringing together complementary colors that could help. If you look at this one above it with this eye symbol, you can see that though there's a contrast, but the colors are still coming together. So that's to tell you that contrast is important. You can see black and white contrast, that's contrast. You can see this um, arrangement of apples, green apples, and there's a red apple, and the first thing you just see is just a red apple. So this is how powerful contrast can be, and contrast can come in a lot more ways. Contrast can come like you're contrasting typography, like typefaces. Maybe you're using a serif and a sans serif. I've explained that earlier. Or it could be the size of your typeface. Okay, so let me go to Canva. If you have a background, what color of text are you laying on that background? Are they contrasting? Can you see the difference between these two? Or when people look at it, they are struggling. You don't want to use colors that strains your audience. Okay, let me just look for an example here. Let's to demonstrate what we have to say. All right, so as we proceed in this designing like journey, you're going to see me mention these things, and that means I won't be repeating these processes I've explained to you. That's why I'm taking my time to explain things to you. You need to understand contrasting colors. It has to be contrasting. The text you are placing on the background should really be obvious, like anybody looking at it should be able to read that text. You don't want to be writing a text to people so if I'm looking at this design, I can see back to school. Like that's the first thing my eyes kind of grab, because the colors of the background and the text is contrasting. I can see the bazaar, the music, the games, because it is contrasting. Purple and white are contrasting colors. But let's assume that with this kind of background that I have, I change the color of this and then I make it something like, I love black, right? Let me make it black. Okay, so what do you call this? Like somebody make this graphic design for you and sent it to you. Please, what are you going to think? Like, how am I supposed to see this? Of course, I can see it, but not when you're trying to communicate to an audience. Okay, so it's important that you realize the importance of contrast in whatever you are doing, so that by the time you are picking your colors, you understand what colors are okay. See, if I pick this color, I feel like, okay, this is fine. This is totally not fine. You want it to be highly contrasting. And this way, somebody like going through it can immediately see what you are trying to communicate to them. Okay, another way to contrast a thing is your shapes. Okay, so looking at this entire design is taking a square shape, and then there's this round shape that contains the picture, that is contrast. And you can see another round shape, the pink round shapes, that's contrast. For example, maybe you're designing a magazine, and then there are some cubes, rectangles all over the place, and just in the middle of it, you, or maybe a rounded element right in the middle of it, that's like contrasting to the entire thing going on that design, and it makes people want to look at what is there. So in a way, without shouting, without making noise on your design, you can just easily shift the gaze or attention of your audience to a particular place. Do you get? It's not about you screaming the particular information, but then when people see, they can easily just get drawn to that. From the apples that we saw the other time, the other apple that caught your attention when was not bigger than the remaining apples. They were the same size, but the color kind of caught the attention and made me feel there's a red apple there. As a matter of fact, if I'm to describe that design, I could say, oh, I saw some apples with with a red apple. So that's to say, the contrast help your audience attention. It really does help. So this is what you need to realize about contrast. It could come in form of shape. It could come in form of font size. It could come in form of typography type. Most especially, well, color is the most obvious ways of ensuring contrast on your design. So any single time you're thinking of changing a color, you're thinking of picking some element on your design, be very, very keen. If you choose this kind of color, man, you're not really doing a good job. So using that white is like one of the best things. Like, it just makes sense. So you want to ensure that you have contrast on your design. I do not want this video to be too long. I'm going to end this video here, and I'm going to see you in the next video, where I'm going to talk to you about alignment.